Hi guys, my name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer and I'm here to talk to you about the upcoming solar eclipse in Gemini on June 10th. I'm also going to break it down for each sign. There is timestamps in the description. If you like my work, please support me by giving me the thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. I also do readings. There's a link down there. So let's talk about it. Solar eclipse. Solar eclipse is a new moon. It's the sun-moon conjunction, but it's a big deal. It's the moment when the moon comes so close to the sun, like not so close, but like the moon blocks the light of the sun, so we cannot see it as well. It gets like, it's a partial eclipse, so part of it is blocked. And it's a big deal. So new moon is all about beginnings. Astrologically, it's the time to start new things. Not really recommended to set any intentions on the solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse because it is a moment of karmic rebalancing. It's the time when karma has plans for you and you don't really, your opinion doesn't matter as much. Of course, you can still set intentions and you can plan things for your life, but be aware that it's the time of it's more kind of like the universe tells you what to do, what's the next step in your life is. So approach it with graciousness, approach it with flexibility, and allow some rest because it's happening in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is a highly talkative, communicative, very quick-witted, fast-paced sign, so chances are the volume of conversations will be really loud and it's good to allow some downtime. This is a longer eclipse cycle. We are in the middle of the eclipse season. We had an eclipse, a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on May 26th, and now there's another one in Gemini. The nodes shifted into Gemini and Sagittarius in the middle of 2020, so it's a longer cycle. And what is happening during this cycle is there is a rebalancing. There is an energy shift. Energy gets pulled away from Sagittarius. So it gets drained from whatever house is Sagittarius in your natal chart and it gets pushed into Gemini. So based on your chart, your individual placements, there's kind of like a letting go happening in some topics represented by Sagittarius and an extra focus on the topics represented by Gemini. I will go into more detail in a few minutes, but before I do, a couple of things to mention. Like I said, just be careful as far as like not overextending yourself, not overexerting yourself. This eclipse has two aspects happening at the same time. It is really close to Mercury. Actually, Mercury Cazimi happens the same day. Mercury Cazimi is Mercury conjunct with the sun, like the perfect conjunction. And the planet that is Cazimi usually empowered. It has more say, it has more clarity, it's protected by the sun, it's conversing with the sun. So it means that we will have extra mental powers. We will think more clearly, we will have better ideas. So, any new things that are connected to Gemini just in general are also good that day. So, and a couple of weeks before, a couple of weeks after. So topics connected to technology, kind of if you needed to upgrade your computer, maybe now is the time. If you're starting a YouTube channel and you need to buy new equipment, or even if you just want to start a YouTube channel, really great for that. Mercury is also merchants, so any kind of like mercantile activities, selling things, buying things, business activities, figuring out plans for your business, communication activities, maybe like setting up a phone in your apartment, transportation activities. Obviously, since Mercury is retrograde, I would be extra careful with planning trips, but still, maybe you're planning a vacation, or maybe you're planning a journey, maybe you're moving at some point. So these are some of the general things that can be connected to this eclipse, especially with Mercury being right there. It feels very lovely, honestly. It just feels like if eclipses are a moment of karmic restructuring, right, where you don't have much control over, at least you will have the clarity. At least you will have the power to understand things. really great way to approach the eclipse is kind of like journal and meditate on things you want to accomplish in the area highlighted by this eclipse. Definitely do not set intentions. There might be a spiritual element to it with Mercury squaring Neptune. Oh, actually, yeah, like Mercury and Sun, Moon are also squaring Neptune. Not a very tight orb, but it's still happening. So secrets might get revealed. Very much, you know, Neptune is connected to like illusion, deception, delusion. And when you get that moment of Cazimi, the light gets the light is shining on your mind and on the secrets and on the insights. So you might learn something about someone, you might discover information that changes the course of your life. You might meet a person too. I think, you know, sometimes the change in life happens when you meet the right person, when the door opens for you and the opportunity presents itself. But staying higher minded, trying to find ways to be altruistic, to be more spiritual, I think with whatever you are accomplishing with this eclipse or whatever changes are happening in your life is encouraged and will bring you a lot of success. And just a good time too, I would say, to look at the way you talk to people and look at the way you communicate with others. Oftentimes we either err on the side of, you know, my opinion, it's my way or the highway, and it's like the way I think, I'm honest with people and they should just live with it. Or there are other people like Libra risings, for example, they try to always be nice and they err on the side of not speaking their mind and being too careful in the way they communicate. So maybe it's the time to review how you approach information, how you gather information, how you share information. We live in this time where we're so present on social media and on YouTube and Instagram, and sometimes the information we absorb too it's not always for our benefit, you know, like you really need to be careful with what you eat, and you also need to be careful with the information you ingest. So I think some of it, with Gemini being the sign that's very talkative, very communicative, can be about how can you use that Neptunian power and clarity of the Cazimi to be more thoughtful and more careful in the information you ingest. So let's dive into the individual rising sign horoscope. So if you are an Aries rising, this eclipse is happening in your third house. Look back at the lunar eclipse that happened on November 30th last year. Third house is connected to your schedule. So there may be things that are changing in your schedule. Maybe you are kind of letting go of something you used to do and starting a brand new thing. It's also the house of siblings, so you can see changes either connected with siblings, like maybe you are reconnecting with a sibling on a new level, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're having a child and your life is changing because their life is changing. It's also a really beautiful energy to learn something new, to expand your mind, to expand your communication style, to reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. That could be a sibling or a sibling-like figure, and update your technology. This could be quite literally, you know, maybe your phone breaks down or you just want to buy new piece of equipment, maybe a computer. And last but not least, this could also be a great time, and you may feel a pull to get involved with your local community or with your sibling. Maybe there's something you've been craving to do. Maybe I have a friend, she's an Aries rising, and we've been talking about volunteering for a while. And just recently she was saying that she actually wants to do it. So, you know, why now? Because the eclipse is happening in the third house for her. If you are a Taurus rising, this is all about your money and your finances because the eclipse is happening in your second house. So maybe you are moving money around. Maybe you're paying off a debt. Maybe you're closing an account. Or there's also a possibility of finding a new financial advisor. Maybe you're starting a Roth IRA. Something is changing in your resources. Maybe you're getting a bonus, you know, professionally too. For Taurus risings, with like Aquarius being the 10th house and Saturn being there, there's been a lot of professional developments. So maybe you're getting a pay bump. something is definitely changing, and you are having that mental clarity, mental understanding of what you want, and you're making that shift happen for yourself. As far as second house being connected to your values and your self-esteem, I see this as whatever financial dealings you're going through, your self-esteem is growing in the process, and you are feeling a lot better about your value as a person or as an employee. If you are a Gemini rising, this is so big because it's happening in your first house. Geminis and Sag risings, the most important, I would say, as well as like Virgo and Pisces as well. But first house, it's who you are. It's your identity. It's what you look like. Something has been you've been feeling like things have been outdated and you need a big change. And this could be a few different things, right? Like this could be as simple as changing your hair color. Or maybe you feel like your wardrobe no longer fits you and you are in for a redo. Maybe your career is no longer satisfying. Maybe you are changing jobs. There's been a lot of kind of like inner back and forth. I also have a friend who's a Gemini rising, and she's been really focused on what her next steps might be in life and what she wants to do because she's been feeling stuck in her career. As you know, as I mentioned with this eclipse, with Mercury being the ruler of the eclipse and Mercury going retrograde, sometimes the answers come from the past, either from a friend, a mentor, a teacher. Someone comes in and gives you an answer, helps you find the new direction. Or maybe you're looking at yourself from the past and you're asking, what were the projects that I wanted to invest my energy in but never got a chance to? Take a look at the things you once enjoyed doing and perhaps didn't give full attention to, and maybe, press a rewind and do it again. If you are a Cancer rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house, and there is a potential for this one to be isolating and a little bit harder, I would say, than for the rest of the signs, just because it's happening in the 12th house. And 12th house is, to me, kind of like a house of a shipwreck. Like, you have to do with whatever's left, and you're sometimes thrown into the ocean and you're swimming against the current, and you have to figure out, like, you're fighting. There's a lot of feeling of like, I'm fighting something and I don't always see the results, or I don't know what the point of it is. So here, 12th house is your psyche. So you have been feeling frustrated with your relationships, with the dynamics in your life, with the debts and contracts, spoken and unspoken, you have with other people. And maybe you've been feeling like things are just happening to you and you don't have as much control over it. But you do. And this is the time to actually examine your psyche and examine the ways in which you may sabotage yourself, or maybe the ways in which you talk negatively to yourself. It is all up to you. And I think this could be a great time to start a spiritual practice, to set a time every day or, every couple of days, as much as you can. My Cancer rising friend, she just had a baby, not just a couple of years ago, but it's harder to set a specific time every day if you have a child. But devote some time to nurturing yourself, devote some time to daily walks and meditation. It's also a great time to start therapy, but a lot of, I would say, like inner healing and inner examining. Venus is currently in your first house, kind of like makes things easier. I think if you spend some time taking care of yourself, it will be better. And then Jupiter is in your 9th, kind of giving hope and optimism and faith, and I like that. If you are a Leo rising, take a look back at the eclipse on November 30th last year and see what was happening in your life back then. This is affecting your social network. So there might be changes in your friendships. Maybe something is happening to your friend. Maybe they're getting married and you're getting involved, planning the wedding or something. Maybe you feel tired of a job you've been at. I feel like a lot of that's like an easy example, I guess, like with people being tired of a job. But maybe, you either feel tired of your connections, you feel like something is no longer satisfying. And so there are big changes in the groups you belong to. So it could be changing, jobs, and then your coworkers change. It could mean changes in your friendship dynamics. Something is kind of getting shifted and getting moved around. You may find yourself getting involved with the community a lot more, volunteering, doing something on a larger level. 11th house is the house of your fans. So maybe you are connecting to your fans. Doesn't have to be, quite literal as like people buying tickets to your concert, although maybe for some Leo risings, that's what it is. But it could also be about finding your community, finding the group that you feel like you belong to. And it's also a lovely time to collaborate with people and maybe find a mentor or start mentoring someone and give back. If you are a Virgo rising, this is also really significant because it's happening in your 10th house of career. So expect new professional beginnings. Mercury moves backwards, right? So new beginnings may be coming from the past. Maybe you're connecting to past bosses. Maybe you're reaching out to your past old colleagues and you're asking them for professional advice. There's definitely been big shifts the last kind of year for Virgo risings professionally, I would say. And some of you may have moved for work. Some of you may have started a new job. So this could be a time of maybe you get promoted. Maybe you leave a job if you felt like it's not satisfying. And likely if you do, there will be a feeling of hopefulness because you are starting something new and you're feeling excited about it. But there could also be changes in your office. Maybe your office is moving to a new location. Maybe you're implementing a new software. There could be a lot of different possibilities. But look at your professional sector and see what was happening back in November 2020 to see what might come back this time. If you are a Libra rising, this is affecting your 9th house. And 9th house is connected to religion, philosophy, education, mentors, teachers, travel. So new beginnings, opportunities in that area. It's also the house of publishing. So maybe you are getting a chance to publish your work. Maybe you're finding a teacher. Maybe you're starting to teach yourself. Trips are a possibility, kind of planning a trip or going on a trip, very much so. And anything that deals with like visas or paperwork, like, tickets to go somewhere, legal procedures even, there might be big news there. As well as 9th house is connected to your spirituality and your beliefs and your faith. And maybe there are big shifts happening in that area as well, where you feel like your old view of the world is outdated and you need to change some things. If you are a Scorpio rising, this is affecting your 8th house. So expect new beginnings in the area of shared money. Maybe you are opening a joint bank account with your partner. Maybe since this is the house of like karmic exchanges between us and other people, maybe you're starting a project with someone that involves, putting money together. There could be a financial bonus coming your way, for sure, or maybe you are paying off a debt. Maybe you're getting a loan. Another possibility is your partner getting a boost, or they can get an inheritance. Something might be happening with their money that you get affected kind of in the process because you're connected to them. So maybe it's actually them who are getting a pay bump, or them who's getting like a big tax refund or getting a loan, and then it just kind of like affects you. This is also the house of healing and intimacy, so you may get to face some of your fears and maybe connect to your partner on a deeper emotional and sexual level. So be open to that and try to be raw and vulnerable, of course, only with people who deserve your trust, but you can find that highly beneficial and enjoyable around the eclipse time. If you are a Sag rising, this is all about your relationships. Once again, look back at November 30th and just in general November, December last year, and maybe even the last year. What kind of relationships got started in your life? What was happening in your life as far as relationships back then? There's new opportunities for dating coming your way for sure, and likely kind of like serious long-term potential relationships. Collaborations, this is also the house of business partnerships. So maybe you are starting a business. Maybe you are, coming up with a contract, kind of getting together with someone and working on a joint project. New opportunities might be coming for your partner. Maybe changes in their life are happening. Like, maybe they have to move and you're moving with them. So any new things will happen in your house of relationships. Sometimes this also brings endings in relationships, because it's a new beginning. So maybe you felt stifled in a relationship and it's actually time for you to let go of one. But you will not feel burdened by it because there is that hopefulness and that excitement. You are Jupiter ruled. Jupiter is in Pisces. So there is hope and there's optimism. So whatever happens with your relationships will bring you a lot of joy. If you are a Capricorn rising, so this is happening in your 6th house, and 6th house is all about work. It's about your health. So maybe there are changes happening with your health, and this doesn't have to be negative. Of course, this could mean like an end to a health battle. Maybe you've been dealing with something and now it's finally the time to move past it. And as a result, you may find yourself revisiting your diet and your exercise, and maybe you're setting a better health routine or better health practices in place. Or maybe you got pregnant recently and now your health is changing, and now like the way you eat and everything needs to be completely different. This is very much a possibility here too. But you can also expect new beginnings at work, and new beginnings you may take on a new project, and it might be a long project that will require a lot of sacrifice, but will likely be something you enjoy. Going with the whole theme of Mercury being the ruler and moving backwards, maybe you are going back to a job you've had in the past. Maybe you are connecting with an old boss or maybe old clients. Maybe you're somehow taking a look back and reviewing all of your past connections, and there's new beginnings in your sector of work that come from there. But definitely a great time to invest some time into your well-being, into your diet, exercise, and your health. If you are an Aquarius rising, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house. So take a look back at November 30th last year. What was happening in your area of creativity, romance, children, fun, risk-taking, sports sometimes. Maybe you just let go of a creative venture and now is the time to start new. Maybe you're finding inspiration in the past with Mercury moving retrograde. Maybe there is a creative project that you put on hold a while ago and now you're getting a chance to revisit that project. Maybe you're collaborating with a past, creative partner. There could be changes around the topics of children. Some of you might find out that you're pregnant. Some of you might start trying for a baby. Have a child. There's definitely a lot of possibilities. And if you're not someone who's interested in a child, or if you're single, maybe you're connecting with your inner child. This is very much a possibility with the 5th house too. And maybe you're asking, what brings you joy? What makes you feel happy? And you're looking back at what did you enjoy when you were little? What was your childhood like? And what did you enjoy as a child? And you start some of those things up again. There is also a possibility of restarting a relationship with an ex or a past romantic partner coming into your life. So be careful, of course. Be careful with kind of looking if it's for the right reasons or if you've just been feeling lonely, because going back is not always the best idea. And last but not least, if you are a Pisces rising, look back at whatever was happening in your sector of home and family at the end of 2020, November, December 2020. There are definitely opportunities coming around your home and land and family. So maybe you're moving. Maybe you're moving to a new place. Maybe you're starting a renovation project in your home. Maybe you're not as much moving, but you're finding a sense of belonging. Maybe you have found a friend group that you feel comfortable in, and they make you feel warm, and they have that familial vibe. Maybe you started a new relationship and you're finding comfort in a new home, like in your partner's home. Maybe you're just rediscovering what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel safe, and that could be a new job, that could be a new apartment, or that could be the arms of a loved one. On a literal level, this could also bring new beginnings in the area of family. So of course, you know, starting a family, buying a house, reconnecting with a family member if things weren't going quite well, and kind of finding a lot of joy in the home. I think like beautifying the home, or connecting with the home, or feeling more safe and secure in the home. This is all I have. I hope you liked this video. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button, and hit all the buttons, and I'll see you for the next video. Have a safe eclipse. Bye.